We're connected and recording, so when you're ready, Scott.
Okay, awesome. Hey, well, good morning, everyone. My name is Scott Rogowski. I'm the Director of Northern California SBDC, Small Business Development Center's Finance Center. And I'm joined here today by Alan Montague. He's our web guy, or Zoom god, or whatever you would call himself. And then we also have...
I'll take Zoom god.
Zoom guy, I'm sure you will. And then we also have my Associate Director, Sunita Maharaj. She's here as well. And she's going to answer some questions while I'm speaking, doing some updates. And look at that, we have Noah Broad. He's not in his hammock, but he is like in nature, it looks like. So good morning, Noah. Thank you for joining us today from SBA, the District Office of San Francisco. So we bring this to you as small business owners and to our small business community in Northern California. We bring this to you every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 10:30 to 12, or sometimes we finish early if we answer all the questions for those that are new. This is our, it's actually our CARES like loans updates, like what loans are live, and this is a live Q&A, so we are gonna read your questions as we answer them, or we're just gonna answer them in the queue. And then with that, you know, we've done, this is our 33rd of these. So if you take 33 and divide by 3, then we've been doing this for 11 weeks, which is pretty awesome. And then if you, today is June 22nd, so there you go. So we are all in this together. I'm just gonna jump in. So we're Northern California SBDC. We're the network that covers the most 36 counties in the state. We go from the Oregon border down the coast to Santa Cruz. We cover all 9 counties of the Bay Area. We go as southeast as Stockton, then back up to the Nevada border in Oregon. Because of our SBA funding, Small Business Administration, that is federal, and our state funding, which is GoBiz, the Economic Department of the Governor's Office, which is called GoBiz. Because of our SBA funding and our state funding, we come to you and organizations at no cost. We offer no cost one-on-one advising that is confidential. We also offer webinars and workshops such as this and educational events, mostly also at no cost. The Finance Center, we do nothing but specialize in helping businesses access capital. That could be startup, it could be for growth, it could be for hiring people, it could be for repositioning, it could be to buy a business, buy a building, sell a business, all that great stuff. And we do that for you at no cost. In our region, we have 20 centers. And for those of you that are familiar with us, you have your local centers where your business is or where you live. And they also have advisors like the Finance Center, and they can help you with all sorts of other different things, whether it be HR or marketing or how to start and grow your business. But at the Finance Center, we do nothing but help business owners access capital. And during COVID, we specialize in the EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loan, the Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP, and now the Main Street lending program. We'll go over that a little bit today, and then any other direct lenders. And then today, it's kind of all over the place a little bit. We did say we were going to go over the full application, but we're not. We're just going to do some other updates, and then hopefully by Wednesday or Friday of this week, we will go over the whole application because it's intense, and no lender is ready. So I think we are in the 10th week of the first funding of PPP, so we're all still trying to figure it out. So agenda, we got a disclaimer. We have the PPP Flexibility Act. We have the PPP updates. We have sole prop, that's right, okay. Updates, FTE Reduction Overview. Take over the Safe Harbor overview. There's a Main Street launch. Alan's gonna attach, he's not gonna attach an attachment, but I said he was, but I changed that. So he's gonna attach the link for the June 24th webinar, which is not our webinar. It's another webinar. That's at 2 o'clock. So he's gonna put that in the chat. So if you wanna learn more about the Main Street program, because whoever is presenting it is gonna know more than I am, or my team is. So then there's new loans in 5 counties. I spoke about this a little bit on Friday, sorry. And those are from 1,000 to 150,000, but it's only specific to those 5 counties in Northern California, which we'll go over in a little bit. Then we have Noah Broad. He's going to do an SBA update, and then we'll go into Q&A. So the disclaimer is that things are changing all the time. This information was correct when this presentation was put together, but things are changing all the time. EIDL, which is Economic Injury Disaster Loan, is open back up for all types of businesses, including 501c3s, which is nonprofits. So apply. Please apply for EIDL if you haven't. Apply for EIDL and the EIDL Advance. The EIDL Advance is 100% forgiven. It's $1,000 for every employee. So if you have one as a sole prop, then you get 1,000. If you have 10 or more, you get 10,000. It's 100% forgivable, but you have to check the box. If you don't know where that box is, just give us a call. We'll help you find it. There's still money for PPP. I'm not sure how much, maybe 60, 80, maybe 100 billion. So PPP currently, the last date you can apply is June 30th, unless they extend it. I'm not sure if no one knows if they extended it yet, but he might tell us. So if that's the case, then June 30th is the last day. Today's 22nd, you have 8 days. If you count today, you have 9 to apply for PPP. Don't hesitate to apply for EIDL or PPP, regardless of what you think. Maybe it may or may not be true about you qualifying, or what you hear from other people that say you can't and you shouldn't apply. Because guess what? You wouldn't know, because we're not the beholder, and neither is SBA. For EIDL, it's disaster of office assistance, ODA, and then for PPP, it's actually the lender that you apply to tells you who you get approved or who doesn't get approved. So don't disqualify yourself, and don't listen to anybody that says don't apply. So we are not privy to lenders coming forward with Main Street programs. So that is true where you are not. But the information I'm going to go over a little bit later in this, you'll see why. All right, so PPP Flexibility Act, this came out June 5th, kind of changed a few things. If you received a loan before June 5th, you automatically, all right, so if you received a loan before June 5th, you have a 2-year loan at 1%. But you can go to your lender and negotiate to go from a 2 to 5, and we're not sure what that looks like because we haven't done one yet. We're not sure what the conversation would look like, or if there's a document that helps you talk the lingo for the lender to flip it. But apparently, if you receive the loan before June 5th, you can essentially get it to the 5-year term. It just has to be documented. Anybody that receives a loan after June 5th on the PPP gets a 5-year loan automatically at 1%. The covered period, the chosen covered period, could either be 8 weeks or 24 weeks. It doesn't matter if you spend all the money in 12 weeks or 15 weeks or 18 weeks or 13.5. What really matters is if you either choose 8 weeks or you choose 24. And then after the weeks expire or pass of what you chose, then that's when you get to start talking to the lender, put your paperwork together, and asking for forgiveness. And then
I'll interject on there a little bit on that one, which is just to say that that actually is an open question still that we have, whether you have to wait the full 24-week period or the 8-week period before applying. But whether it can be 12 weeks or 14 weeks or something like that. And we're waiting to get confirmation one way or the other. But I believe the intention is, under the program, is to allow people to apply when they run out of funding. But whether, what is actually allowable and clarification of whether people have to wait the full 24 weeks or not has not been released yet.
Okay, cool, man. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I like how that it keeps changing and they keep it spicy.
We do, yeah.
We only have, if we count today, we only have 5 more days with you. It's kind of sad.
I'm gonna try and get in as many changes as I can before Friday, Scott, because I know
that is exciting.
I know you really like.
I really wanted your cell phone number so I can text you and bother you every once in a while. That's up to you, not me. All right. So allowable non-payroll expenses. So that's the rent, interest, mortgage payments if you own your building, and utilities. And that maximum went from 25% to 40%. So the whole 75-25 split, you just gotta throw that out the window. It doesn't exist for anybody anymore. So just take it out the window, just like go throw it away in the garbage can or something. So the maximum that you can spend on rent, interest, debt payments, or utilities, or any utilities, is 40%. The allowable payroll expenses went from a minimum of 75% to 60%. So now you can spend less on payroll, and it's okay. Well, per this number, per this change. So you used to have to, so if you had 10 employees before February 15th, you used to have to get to 10 employees by June 30th. Well, they extended that to December 31st. So if you're 10 employees before the 15th and now you're at 5, you have to get to the other 5 or do your best and document it. They said no, and you have to do that before December 31st, which is awesome. The first payment for Triple P is, it used to be deferred for 6 months, but now it's deferred for 10 months after the chosen covered period when you start actually, I guess, either like what Noah said, spend all your money or, you know, wait until the 8 or the 24, but if it's, you know, 12, 15, 18 yet, we don't know that. Just whenever you're done, whether you're done with 8 weeks or 24 weeks or any time in between, and you ask for forgivability, is it 10 months after that, Noah, or is it just like, is it just there's 2 options, after 8 weeks, 10 months, and after 24, 10 months, or what if you ended at 16?
Yeah, so this is, I think the way things are written and structured right now is you have 2 options. You have 8 weeks and 24 weeks. And that's kind of baked into most of the structure of the program. And many business owners are asking what's like, well, could I have something in between that? Could I have, you know, something other than just those 2 options? And I only see those 2 options baked into the structure of the program right now, but we have open questions with, you know, with some of our internal offices to see if additional flexibility on top of everything else is available, but it's just the 2 that are baked in there right now.
Okay, cool, thanks. So more to come with that. So we have a new EZ PPP application for forgivability. This isn't to apply, this is to get forgivability. So there's an EZ form, which is like for these 3, well, these aren't 3 types of businesses. These are 3 like business model types as far as like how you run and operate your business. And this is for, it's like a 3-page instead of like the long form. So who can use the EZ form is self-employed and have no employees. People that are self-employed have no employees. You did not reduce or, so it's not or, it's and. Sorry, geez. It's not and, it's or in these, apologize. Did not reduce the salaries or wages of their employees by more than 25% and did not reduce the number of hours of their employees. Or experienced reductions in business activity, which a lot of us have, or most of us have, as a result of health directives related to COVID-19 and did not reduce the salaries or wages of their employees by more than 25%. So besides what you see here on this page, is there more you want to add, Noah?
Yeah, I think the only thing I would add is I read the EZ application and I thought to myself, they could have made it even easier.
Of course they could have, Noah. Are you going to fix that before you leave? That'd be really cool.
I gotta try it again. But the way to think about the form is really, it's like you have self-employed and no employees, or you did not reduce the salaries or wages of your employees more than 25% and didn't reduce the number of hours of your employees, or the number of hours of your employees after exemptions. Like you could just do it basically with 2 things. And because when you go to figure out whether or not you had an employee reduction or number or hours of employee reduction, there's 4 or 5 categories of exemptions where you don't have to count certain types of situations or certain types of employees when you go to apply for this, when you go to figure out if you reduced the number of employees. And so this second bullet point is after exemptions, essentially. And the third bullet point is sort of the same thing as the second bullet point, but it really explicitly calls out one of the big exemptions.
Okay, thank you. And then the next thing that we found on the, I don't know, was this on the EZ form, Sunia? This other one, this slide, was that on the EZ form, or is this just more information within it?
This is more information in regards to the Flexibility Act and the income. Okay. This is not to do with the EZ Act.
Okay, cool. All right, so there's For all right, sweet. So, all right, so Noah, is the first bullet point for 8 weeks only? Yeah, it's 15,385, and then the second week is 20,833, or is there another? Oh, then the employee max wages is 24. So I'd like to ask you either what you know, not your opinion, but what you know about these 3 bullet points. But what is if you choose 8 weeks as your max as a sole proprietor and an individual owner, 15,385. If you choose 24 weeks, is it 20,833? And if you're an employee, your max used to be 15,385, and now it's 46,154.
That looks correct. Yes.
Oh, yeah, goody.
Yeah. No, this one is, and this was a decision at the, by the Treasury Secretary and the Administrator of SBA about how to treat owner compensation under this program, and so they that was a decision in the rulemaking by the administrators to structure owner compensation a little bit differently than employees under the 24 versus 8 week extension. Okay,
cool. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the there's sole prop, interest, interest utilities. This is like so there's either rent, you don't own a building, or interest, mortgage payments, whether you charge your business at your place where you live, or you own a building and you pay the mortgage back. And then there's utilities. So I know you could probably read this, but if you have payments and interest on your mortgage obligations, which is a commercial property, on real, that's commercial or personal property, which would be your house, and it was incurred before February 15th, meaning you had a building loan, or you charged your business for interest on your mortgage loan before February 15th of this year, then it shows up on your Schedule C, then you can deduct it as a rent. If you, interest mortgage payment. If you have rent, meaning a lease, whether you have a lease with where you live, or you have a lease on a building with a landlord, and it was in place before February 15th of this year, and it shows up on your Schedule C as business rent, then yes, it can be forgivable. Utility payments have to be, payments under service agreements have to be dated before February 15th, meaning if you sign up for telephone service or internet service or electricity service, then that would have to have, this agreement would have to happen before February 15th. Yeah, so that's basically as simple as it could be. Do you want to add any more to that, Noah, or is that good? All right, cool. All right, sweet. So this is like a lot of words, and we get it, but we didn't want to break it up and kind of confuse you. So this is FTE, which is full-time employee reduction exceptions, and exceptions. And so you can, should we just read this, or should we just let them read this, or should we?
All right, so what I was talking about earlier when I said, that EZ form could have 2 bullet points. Basically, under the Paycheck Protection Program, when you go to ask for loan forgiveness, if you've reduced the number of employees, when you go to apply for forgiveness, you may not receive full forgiveness. There's a calculation for reducing the amount of loan forgiveness you're eligible for if the number of employees you have been reduced, with the caveat, or with the statement that there are some exceptions. So if you have reduced employees and it's for any one of these exceptions, then you wouldn't include any of these in the calculations for employee FTE reductions. And so the exceptions, in a high level way, are if you're unable to hire a similarly qualified employee to fill a position, if you went to go rehire an employee and that employee rejected that offer, or if an employee quit, voluntarily resigned, was fired for cause, or voluntarily chose to receive a schedule reduction. All of those are items that you would kind of apply to your FTE reduction. The last one, I don't know, it might be on the next slide, is if you weren't able to return to your normal business activity. Yeah, this one. If you weren't able to return to your normal level of business activity because you were complying with guidelines from the CDC, HHS, or OSHA. So if you think of a restaurant, for instance, that used to have 20 employees, but now because of social distancing guidelines, they can't, or because they're not allowed, they had to reduce their the maximum allowable capacity of their space by half, and that's a CDC or an OSHA or an HHS guideline. Well, that reduction in that they're following, that they're following those health guidelines wouldn't be held against you.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. No, next time I'm going to call these the NOAA slides. You talked about it very, very well. Did you know about the exception 2, or did you already talk about this one too? There's like an exception 1 and an exception 2 regarding safe harbor. Or did you already say this? Oh, sorry. No, dang it. So I'll show you. There's these 3 that you talked about, and then there's a safe harbor option 1, and then a safe harbor option 2. It's okay, we can skip it.
Yeah, I mean, so that one is essentially saying that, like, if you have time to staff back up. So that one's kind of baked into the program. You could call it a safe harbor, but you have up to December 31st, 2020 to restore your FTE levels. And then go and apply for loan forgiveness.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Here it is. Apparently, this didn't come out yesterday. It came out June 8th. It's like 14 days ago. But we haven't really had a chance to like jump into it because we haven't really found any lenders that are jumping up and down, getting excited about it. Yeah. And then go ahead.
Well, no, yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, that it hasn't really launched with the lenders yet. But,
yeah, exactly. It hasn't, yeah. And then I could send the document out. I was gonna have Alan do that, but then I was reading it and I was confused. So if I'm confused, probably other people are gonna be confused. So what I want to tell you about it is that there is some links, and you can click on them, and they go to like a borrower's page, which is a business owner page. And then you can click on another link that says it's a lender page, meaning if you want to sign up as a lender. So if there's any lenders just like listening because you want to hear us talk about what we do, then yes, you can sign up too, which is also weird, but okay. So this is the Federal Reserve System out of Boston. It's called the Main Street Lending Program. This is like a quick snapshot of it. If you look on the bottom, it says the loans range in size from 250 to 300 million. So they're not doing any loans under 250,000 at the time. The program is designed to help credit flow to small and medium-sized businesses that were in a sound financial condition before the onset of COVID-19, but now need loans to help maintain their operations until they have recovered from or adapted to the impacts of the pandemic. The loans originated under the program have several features that will help businesses facing challenges. The program offers 5-year loans, which is if you get a $3 million loan for 5 years, I mean, it might be a little hard to pay back, but maybe they'll change it like they did the PPP, who knows? So the rates are floating, meaning they're not fixed, and principal interest payments are deferred as indicated in the chart below, which we'll go over a little bit. Actually, we won't go over the chart because it was confusing. So what it isn't, it is not a forgivable loan. This Main Street thing is not forgivable. How it works. Well, interested businesses will work with an eligible lender to determine if they meet the program requirements, which are available online. but not really, as well as the lender's own underwriting standards. The lender will determine whether a business is approved for a loan. The Fed will participate in the lending by purchasing a 95% interest in the loan. The lender retains 5%. Noah shakes his head. I don't know what that means.
I mean, well, I just gotta say, I mean, like right now, all of the communication that's structured in the Main Street Lending Program, they're communications that the Federal Reserve is giving out to banks and lenders. I mean, they're kind of, the Fed is standing up, all the structures for lenders to participate in.
Yeah.
So for most of the folks that are on this call who are maybe like business owners, the terms under which the Federal Reserve is buying an interest in the stake of a loan that is eventually issued to a business owner. From a business owner perspective, I don't know if like understanding the machinations of that are, I find it more confusing, honestly, but that's just because the audience that the Federal Reserve is speaking to right now are lenders, because the program hasn't launched for business owners yet.
Yeah. Thanks. So I agree with you 100%. It's super confusing. People keep asking us about it. So this is what I wanted to show. A few slides. I can send the document if you want, but it's.
I've gotten some questions about it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot too, because the Main Street launch of the Main Street Lending Program actually came out in March. They were starting to talk about it in March, but and we're in June, so that means there's 3 months. You know why? Because it's really hard to figure out these loan programs overnight and deploy them and talk to lenders and talk to borrowers and figure out what they want.
And in some ways, actually, the Federal Reserve has been doing it really in a good way, in the sense that they've released the program, done public comment periods, and then revised and adjusted the program based on public comment periods. You can compare it a little bit to how the PPP has been going, where we release the rules,
there you go.
and then we get public comments and then re-revise the program.
Yeah,
to Scott's chagrin.
Yeah, something like that. So this is a chart. I haven't even read the chart yet, but this is the diagram. You guys get a link to this. So you can hang out and talk about this over some coffee with somebody or dinner with your spouse. I don't know. I haven't looked at it yet, but Sunita and I we're gonna figure this out tomorrow. All right, there you go. You heard what Noah said. Noah's not a lender or a business owner. You heard what he said. You hear what we say. We haven't heard what you say because you haven't told us yet, but we haven't even talked to the lender about it. So there you go. If you're in any one of these 5 counties, Sacramento, Yolo, El Dorado, Nevada, there's a direct loan program that Sunita and I have access to. They're out of Sacramento. And we are helping them filter these leads. We're signing you up as clients. If you're not clients, if you are clients, we're going to help you get there, but we're going to collect your loan. We're going to collect your financials and help you package your loan, which just means kind of like organize all your loan docs, which if you want to know what they are, you should email them to us right now. And if you don't feel comfortable, we will send you a secure link. But our email is loans@sbdc.com. And this is all we need. I didn't put it on here. We need last 3 years of business taxes, including 19 if you have it. Last 3 years of personal taxes, including 19 if you have it. Your personal financial statement, which is also known as a 413 on SBA.gov. And then, this is not an SBA loan, but it doesn't matter. A personal financial statement is a personal financial statement. They can transpose it. They'll figure it out. The other thing you need is 2020 year to date, from January 1st to the day, or as close as you can get to the day, like maybe end of May. Your profit and loss year to date 2020, your balance sheet year to date 2020, and if you don't have 2019 taxes filed, then we need your 2019 year to date P&L and balance sheet. Look at this. It's a $1,000 to $150,000 loan. This is money that comes from a direct funder. So that means it's not a bank. Meaning they're not FDIC, and they don't have to abide by a bunch of other regulations. This is actually an EDA fund. EDA stands for Economic Development Agency, I think, fund. And and that's, I think EDA is federal. Is EDA federal?
Yeah, it's a federal.
Okay. Yeah, federal. Okay. And it's 7 years. That's the term. The rate is 1%. There is a fee on this, unlike EIDL and PPP, because these are nonprofits that are lending the money and they need to make a little bit of money to pay their people. So it's 3% plus a $250 closing doc fee, something like that. I don't know what they call that $250 fee, but that's roughly what it is. It's 3%. If you get approved for 100, 3% is $3,000 plus. So it's $3,250 to get a $100,000 loan, and they can put it inside the loan for you, which is really cool. So there you go. That's available. Please email us, and we will collect your financials, or just send your financials. If you're worried about the dark web and they're going to steal it from you when you send it, then ask for a secure link. We'll send it. We'll send you one. All right, there you go. Look at that. I should call this NOAA page. This is the SBA support. Our support. SBA, yeah.
You can't call it that after next week, because I'm not gonna be here.
That's right. That's right. I'll say like NOAA is gone page.
Oh.
Where did NOAA go page? We're thinking about you, Noah. Maybe we'll have Noah on as a guest speaker from HUD. We'll figure it out. I don't know. But if you get if you have a current SBA 7A loan, you know who you are, or 504 loan, or you know who you are. SBA is paying your principal and interest for 6 months after like COVID happened, or whenever they declared the date. But also, if you want to get a building loan now, because building loans are super cheap, as a hybrid rate, a building loan right now would probably be in the 3.5, 4.5, somewhere around there for a 25-year fixed. And that's amazing to buy a building at 3.5%, because prime is 3.25. That's only 0.2 over 5. I'm sorry, 0.2 over 0.25 over prime, which is unheard of. It's almost guaranteed that if you are renting now and you buy your building, if it's available, that your mortgage payment is going to be less than your rent payment. Therefore, you can improve your cash flow and grow your business, which is amazing. So if you get a building loan, if you buy equipment loan, if you reinvent yourself right now, you start your business, you do a bunch of other loans, like hire some people, do some working capital, want to sell your business, want to buy a business, and it's an SBA 7A or 504 loan from today to September 27th. SBA will pay your principal and interest for 6 months. That's not deferred. That's actually, they're going to pay it. And then you should say thank you. And then you should both do the happy dance, because you just got some money, which is a really good rate. So there you go. There's the number if you want to call, not NOAA, but ODA, Office of Disaster Assistance, find out about your loan. There's the email. Also, below the email is a reconsideration email. So if you get declined, they ask you should reconsider. So you have to send in some documentation to make that happen. That's the email. And if you want to know why you got declined, then we can kind of help you. We have a good idea of what the 8 reasons of why you would be declined and kind of how to rebuttal it. So we can help you with that at no cost. So I wanted to give Noah a chance to talk about some updates if there are any, and then we will go into Q&A.
Well, I guess I'll give one update, which is to say that I think I'll be here for at least 1 or 2 other presentations, but as Scott mentioned, I'm going to be transferring to another federal agency starting next week. So it'll be other SBA personnel that hop in on the line and answer questions. So it has been great doing presentations here, even if Scott gets punchy a few times and I have to correct him. But
we'll try and step up and do that for you now, until you're calling.
Thank you, Alan. I want to make sure someone is here available to do that for me when I'm not around. So that's more of a personal update. But I know some folks have been tuning into these for a number of weeks, and sometimes they're the same folks. And in terms of SBA updates that haven't yet been covered, you may have mentioned this, but if you didn't mention it, the economic injury disaster loan is taking new applications now. So you can go to sba.gov and you can fill out an application to receive an SBA disaster loan. That was an application that had been closed for I think a little over a month, and it is now open for all businesses and nonprofits and self-employed individuals to apply for SBA loan at this time. The other update, there was, Scott mentioned that PPP was ending this month already. So we're in the last week that you could get approved for a PPP loan. And there is still about $100 billion left in that fund. That was an update that came out, I think, just yesterday even, 22nd, maybe even come out today, about, what was the date? No, 2 days ago. So as of 2 days ago, there was still $120 billion actually available under that program to be approved. So there's still funding in the program, but it has a end date on the program as as the end of this month, whether there's funding available or not. And so if you haven't yet applied, definitely are encouraging folks to apply to the Paycheck Protection Program at this time. I think those are the two major updates that may, they were already covered a little bit by Scott, but just to kind of, really highlight those two major updates.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. You should secretly join like some of our calls, and then what you should do is text Alan and say, "Hey, let me speak right now," and scare Scott.
Oh, I told you. I mean, yeah. Even if I'm not here at SBA, I'm just gonna keep signing in.
Oh, okay.
We can promote you. We can make you.
When I'm not at SBA, I'll be Zoom bombing. All the chains are off. All of the rules will no longer apply.
Wow.
Yeah, you're not gonna like me when I'm signing in. And I'm not.
Yeah. That's funny. Zoom bombing. I mean, well, that's kind of messed up that you want to blow us up. That's kind of messed up, bro. All right, so there you go. All right, if you want, all right, cool. If you want to talk to a live person, you can call. I have an advisor that's on this call log right now, and she texts me that she went for like a bike ride, and then she had 30 missed calls. So we know you're calling, so thank you. We are going to get to those immediately. Please call. The best way to get a hold of us is to call us 833-ASK-SBDC. You can go on our webinars, our live YouTube channels. You can find that on asksbdc.com. This is being live streamed as we talk about it. You can email us if you like at loans@asksbdc.com. If you want to speak Spanish or you prefer to hear this in Spanish, you can email us at espanol@asksbdc.com. You can work with Oscar Garcia, Julian Canetti. They're from the California Hispanic Chambers of Commerce's in Sacramento, but they cover all of Northern California for us or with us. And they can do this whole presentation in Spanish, and they do that every Thursday. And if you want the link, Alan will do that, or somebody else will, but we'll get that to you. So now we're going to go to Q&A. Sunita has been kind enough to answer 34 questions already, so thank you, Sunita. And we are going to go through this either as fast or as slow as we can. And we have 48 minutes to do it. And it is a fun challenge. Look at that. Sunita, as you've been reading there, is there like a question that people have been asking a lot about that you want to like address real quick, or?
Sure. I just have a couple that want to speak to Noah. Just Lori says, good luck, Noah. And Victoria says, sorry to see you go, Noah. Thanks for all your help and good luck. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Yeah, we've got everyone asking about other counties other than the 5 for the EDA. So got lots of questions. Oh, Dennis says, thank you, Noah. There's lots of thank you, Noahs. So no, you're doing a great job. We're all going to miss you.
Oh.
Hey, if you gotta cry, man, you gotta take a moment and shed a tear, just let us know, okay? All right. Look at that. You had an impact on us, Noah. All right, cool. We're going to read some of these questions. Some of them are long. Some of them are really short. But here we go. I applied for PPP through Bank of America last week and got accepted, but on their agreement form it says I have to apply for forgiveness at 8 weeks. B of A say they are not updating their form to 24 weeks, and I need to sign the form as it. Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
I think B of A is going to get sued, but okay.
Yeah.
I think a lot of lenders, there's other people, sorry, in this Q&A that have said the same thing. So I don't think the lenders have caught up.
Yeah.
So
I guess, so here's what I'd say, Christine. First, if you can email, feel free to email our office at sfomail@sba.gov with some of those details. I like to circulate those internally so that our team can understand what's happening with the lenders. But just know that the way that the Paycheck Protection Program is structured is that the loans have to be made in accordance with SBA guidance. And so if a lender issues something that's in direct conflict with a rule that's been issued by SBA, the rule that was issued by SBA is the item that will be that will be what needs to be followed. If there's a gray area, lenders have authority to they have discretionary authority to interpret SBA guidelines, but in stuff like the 8 weeks or the 24 weeks, that's really clear. So if your loan was issued after the 5th, you have a 24-week period, even if it's, even if on the form or what the lender is saying is an 8-week period. The other item I would say is that for loan forgiveness, a big, a lot of individuals are looking at the Paycheck Protection Program loan forgiveness process as, if you say you were on the 8-week period, which is a 56-day period, right? And a lot of borrowers they got those funds and they thought to themselves, okay, on day 57, I will be putting in my application for loan forgiveness. And unfortunately, that's not gonna happen. Like it's just on day 57, applying for loan forgiveness isn't, that's already passed in some cases if you got your PPP loan right away. But you can only apply for forgiveness once lenders have opened up that process, and many lenders just aren't ready to start accepting applications. What you should know as a borrower is that you will have up until October 10th, 2021 to put in an application for loan forgiveness, and any forgiveness that's issued under the program includes all the interest that may have accrued on that loan in the meantime. So many of the lenders are, it's going to be a slow process, and I think there's an expectation that people will be applying for forgiveness for a full year plus after they may have received the PPP loans. And in some cases, just kind of speaking from some of the experience with these programs, being the absolute first person to go through the process doesn't always necessarily mean that it works out the best, because many of the lenders are getting their processes in place. And I guess this is just context around the loan forgiveness process, that a lot of the lenders aren't ready yet. And if Bank of America is saying in their notes, when you're applying right now, that's an 8-week period, know that when you go to apply for loan forgiveness, that you'll have the option to choose 8 or 24-week period. That's baked into the form. And also that's going to happen down the line.
Thanks. So, so yeah, it's, you said it's baked into the form. Did you say it was baked into the form? Is that what you said? Baked?
Yeah, and the loan
it's law. Well, it's law, right? It's in statute or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's the law. Yeah. I mean, the law that passed through Congress says that a Paycheck Protection Program loan that was issued after June 5th has a 24-week period for that coverage period. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I'm a 501c6 nonprofit and applied for the EIDL. I pre-qualified for the loan, but it is under my personal credit. We have no ownership, but on the application, I put myself down as the owner, required at 0%. When I called SBA, they said they already checked my credit, but my question is whether this shows up on my credit as a debt to income ratio. So if you're a 501c6, you shouldn't have been approved for the EIDL.
Well, it kind of depends with EIDL, but in general, yeah, that's, if you're a 501c, there's kind of two answers to that. One is EIDL. The Office of Disaster Assistance makes eligibility determinations. So if they looked at your application and made an eligibility determination, sometimes they make mistakes, but with 501c6s, there is also a pathway by which you can get approved under EIDL. PPP is stricter. So I don't know the exact case of what their application looked like. For that question about who's listed on the application, let's see. So whether the loan itself will show up on your personal credit as debt to income ratio,
No, it won't. It's not supposed to, right?
No.
Like a business loan usually doesn't show up. Yeah.
Yeah, the answer on that is no.
Yeah. So no, hey, did the EIDL loan payments just automatically start because they have the writing number, account number, or did they have to do anything to activate it?
So yeah, we're moving into servicing questions, with EIDL,
Okay.
which is the loan payments. No, they do not automatically start. EIDL has a deferment. All EIDL loans are deferred for a full calendar year, 12 months. So you do not need to make your first payment until 12 months have passed. By default, everybody who gets an EIDL loan will not be expected to make a payment until 12 months have passed. If you wanted to start earlier than that, you have to kind of contact the Office of Disaster Assistance and have them walk you through how to start making payments. I think you would go to pay.gov and do it through that. There's actually I think even pay.gov might have even updated their homepage to talk specifically about EIDL recently, but yeah, there's a section on, they're called 1201 borrower payments, and SBA borrower payment that's on pay.gov. So if you wanted to start earlier, there's a little, I wouldn't necessarily go, start at pay.gov. I would contact the Office of Disaster Assistance because I know that they're moving and staffing up now on their servicing side to start putting people on their payment plans and setting all that up. But just know that you don't have to make your first payment until 12 months have passed. And if you wanted to start earlier, you should work with the Office of Disaster Assistance to make sure you do it, a little bit how they want you to do it right now.
Okay. Somebody, Jesse Chung asked if, says the 1% loans for the 5 counties. I sent an email at your office inquiring about it on Friday. When should I expect to hear from you? So if we have not replied in an email, please call us at 833-ASK-SBDC and nicely demand that somebody help you right now. Okay? There you go, Jesse Chung. Booyah. All right. So this is a really, go ahead. Sorry,
can I throw out there, we have a lot of questions asking in regards to other counties for the EDA. At this point in time, that's all the counties that we have for that particular loan product. If we find more counties that other institutions are lending, we will definitely get that out to you, but that is it for at this point in time. If we find out by Wednesday, we'll give you the updated information, unless Scott, you have that, just so I can go through a lot of these questions pretty quickly, because there are 2 people asking for Santa Clarita in particular.
Yeah. So this thing, so it's not like we're going to hide all this from you. Sunita and I are spending most of our time in those 5 counties because we live in the Sacramento area. But what we do want to tell you is we don't know what Santa Clara is doing because we're not there every day. We don't know what the city of San Francisco is doing. We do know that the city of Sacramento is launching a $10 million loan fund, but it hasn't hit the market street yet. But if you are in Santa Clara County, you want to know if they're doing a loan, you should just walk down to the county and call somebody or talk to somebody, and they'll tell you if they're doing loans or not. Do they know what they're doing? I don't know. So you should call them and talk to them because we don't know. So we only know those 5 counties.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nita. All right.
And
Deborah.
I guess the only thing I'd say is the EDA grants. I'm happy to hear that that the EDA funded loan funds are starting up. And you're likely to start seeing a lot more of those because the Economic Development Administration, which is another federal agency, the way that works is a city or a county or a regional authority, a government body applies for federal funding for assistance in economic development or economic recovery from the coronavirus situation. And they got funding under the CARES Act so that those governing bodies, whether it was a city or a county or a regional authority, could start implementing programs. And so I'm happy to hear that they're starting to crop up now. That means that some of that grant making process has probably started to, people got their applications in, they got reviewed, they got approved, and now some of the cities and counties and government authorities are starting to stand up their own revolving loan funds. So I think we're going to start seeing a lot of those crop up.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. All right, cool. Deborah Mugnani wanted to write a book. So here we go. Hello, everyone. I'm still wondering if you bring your FTE up to the number you needed for the PPP forgiveness before the 31st of December and then have to reduce staff again before that date, will you still have to reduce the forgiveness amount by a percentage representing? Oh, so it's not, hey Deborah, so it's not like if you today, say tomorrow you bring everybody back and you do your thing and then you have to let them go. That's fine. That's not what they're saying. They're just giving you a chance to get up to full by the 31st. Right, Noah? Do you get what she's asking? She's asking like, hey, what if you had 10 before 15 and now you have 5 and then you got up to 10 by the end of July, but it was before December 31st. We have to let it go in August. Is that cool? That's what she's asking, right?
Yeah, I get questions about whether the FTE count is a point in time, like something that you just, is it how many FTEs you had on Tuesday, or whether it is an average over a time period. My understanding is that your FTE calculation is an average over the time period, actually. I don't fully understand how that myself, I don't understand exactly how that works with the December 31st date. I have some questions about that we're waiting for some clarification on. But the FTE count, if you look at the way that it's calculated on the forgiveness form, it looks at the average that you have paid towards salaries and the amount of time that the employees have been working over your covered period, which is that 24-week or 8-week period. So yeah, that's how that we say it on the forgiveness form.
All right,
So,
cool. Okay.
I want to just give some information. Ali stated that for Santa Clarita County, City of San Jose will be launching a grant program. No details yet. Gilroy, Cupertino, and Milpitas will be launching a grant and or loan program soon. To get their information, go to the economy development websites for each city to get updates. So that's the thing, is each city will have this economic development website for each city. So you have to go there specifically to see what your county or city has to offer. Ali, thank you very much. We will put this information also in the chat, so in case everyone can't see it, it'll be there as well.
All right, cool.
I don't know if I
Thank
can
you.
copy and paste that. Sorry. Allie, can you put that in the chat as well? Sorry, I can't copy and paste that into the chat. I apologize. Thank you so much for the information.
All right, cool. Thank you. All right, so we've answered 64. We have, 64. We have 10 left. We have 32 minutes. All right, so I received the EIDL loan email saying I was approved for the loan 524. I didn't take the loan as of yet. Want to be sure I need it. The SBA sent an email reminder, so I went over the portal, and now the loan is declined. I thought there was 60 days to accept the loan, but I didn't receive any notice. The loan was now declined. What happened? All right, should I just have them email this to you? Email the SFO mail, and you guys can talk about it, or what?
Yeah, definitely email SFO mail at sba.gov. I can see about that. One of the distinctions that I do, make so you have 60 days to sign the DocuSign to fully accept the loan. Sometimes people confuse that for the loan offer amount, because like initially you'll get an offer, the very first email you get from the Office of Disaster Assistance, and that has like a slider with the amount of the loan that you'd like to accept, and you do have a shorter period of time to accept that offer. Once you've accepted, though, they do full underwriting and they email you back, and then you'll have a point where you eventually have to sign a loan document itself with the DocuSign option, and you should technically have 60 days. And even from the loan offer, you should have at least 30. Well, yeah, please email our office and I'll see if I can get that sorted out for you.
Okay, cool. All right. So on EIDL DocuSign, it says the following: the interest will accrue on funds actually advance on the day of each advance. Does this mean I could take the money out little by little, or do I get the full? What does that mean?
You get the full amount of the loan dispersed in one lump sum. It's not bit by bit. I think there are some situations in which people might get multiple disbursements. That has definitely been the case in other disasters in the past. And so that might just be language, boilerplate language that also applies to other disaster assistance loan situations. But in this case, you just get the full loan dispersed in one lump sum.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's get it. So we answer that live. I should know the answer to this, but can you tell me what the restrictions are on the use of funds of an SBA EIDL? Well, the restrictions, Lori, is you just can't use it to. There's a couple of restrictions, but you can't use it to pay off debt fully, like a building or another loan, SBA 7A loan, or some equipment. That's true for that. We also can't do is you can't use it for rent, utilities, or interest debt payments and payroll at the same time that you use PPP for those three things.
Okay.
You can't spend it on payroll if you have PUA collected at the same time. So there's not a lot of restrictions, and
it's pretty much any working business need that you might have. The rule of thumb with the economic injury disaster loan funds is that it is a loan that is intended to help business owners meet expenses that otherwise they would have been able to make, but not for the disaster. And that's the best way to think about this loan. And so it's not a loan for kicking off a big expansion project or construction project or doing something that you never would have done otherwise. It's for meeting the expenses of the business that you normally would have been able to meet, but but not for all these shelter-in-place orders or impacts to your business as a result of the coronavirus.
I hope this doesn't confuse people, but I kind of want to add to a question I believe that was asked and I answered. Somebody wanted to know, and this is specifically for a Schedule C person, what they can use their EIDL loan for or PPP loan for. Now, once you pay yourself, that money you've paid yourself, then you can use it towards anything that you normally use when you got paid. So that is the difference. But you can't go directly from that account and pay your personal credit cards and that stuff. You should transfer your paycheck to your personal account so it shows that you paid yourself, and then you can use those funds accordingly. So Brian just brought that up, and that is definitely the case. But you know, we're getting into the weeds, and that's why I asked for people that are asking questions here to get on one-on-one services so that we know exactly what the question is, if you're a sole prop, if you're not a sole prop, because it does make a difference. So I appreciate Brian bringing that up.
That's a good point. Yeah.
All right, people are really putting this down for a bunch of new questions and everything. Okay, so does the SBA lend the customers with unsatisfactory credit history or previous bankruptcy for COVID-19? So the simple answer is yes, but I mean, the simple answer could be yes. We don't really know. Everybody's different, Johan's. I read that the Fed stimulus package doesn't look at business owners' credit history, but the loan is based on necessity. All right, that's wrong. I mean, that's kind of wrong. So just call us, please, and we will help you out.
I would guess basically. I mean, basically what I'd say on that is that the underwriting criteria for these loans were loosened, you know, as a result of the CARES Act, but there still are credit checks and there's still underwriting that is done on the loans, and it can result in a denial, but it depends on the business. Really does depend on the business and what the situation is.
So apply. Don't hesitate, because you know, we don't know how long the portal is going to stay up again. So if you're hesitating because you're not sure, let the SBA disaster make that decision.
Okay. Sounds good. And I just type in that answer real quick. Okay, cool. So PPP 8 versus 24 week period, we received our PPP funds on 5/7, and the 8-week period was the only option. I just heard Noah say that if you receive the funds after 6/5, you have the option of 8 or 24 time frame. Does that mean our only option is 8 weeks? The answer is no. Your only option is not 8 weeks. You get to choose, just like everybody else. If we receive funds prior, so if you receive fund prior to 6/5, it doesn't matter. You get to choose. Everybody gets the 8 or 24 week. Not everybody gets the 2 or 5, or 2 or 5, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. If you receive
automatically, that's what I mean. You get to choose automatically, right? Like.
Yeah, if you received a PPP loan before the 5th of this month, you get the option between 8 or 24. If you received it after the 5th, I don't think you get the option to choose between 8 or 24. I think everybody gets the 24. But I'm not sure if that, yeah.
That's how I read it as well.
Yeah. I think that option only exists for business owners that applied before or received their PPP loans before the 5th of June.
All right, so Terry Everly wants to know, so I'm not sure if Terry is a man or a woman, but Mr. or Mrs. Everly wants to know, so they got approved for $150,000 for EIDL. They accepted it. They're waiting for DocuSign. They want to know if before they sign DocuSign, can they lower it?
Yes, in some cases. I mean, well, so when I've worked with business owners on this particular question, whether you can lower your EIDL loan offer, the advice that I've gotten from our Office of Disaster Assistance is to accept the loan as, you know, at the offer that was made, and then pay back, you know, the difference. You know, it's like, say you got approved for a $50,000 loan, but you actually wanted a $25,000 loan, to accept the full $50,000 and then return $25,000 to the Office of Disaster Assistance, because otherwise it can pose time because they have to re-underwrite the whole loan and kind of go back to scratch if you wanted to go down to the $25,000 mark before accepting. Those are the conversations I've had with our Office of Disaster Assistance. If you would like to email us, email me at sfomail@sba.gov, and I can loop in someone from our Office of Disaster Assistance, and you can kind of get that guidance directly from them if you like.
No, a quick question. Based on what you just said, if under that scenario where you pay back say half of your loan, do they re-amortize your payments? So if instead of you having a $200 monthly payment, they'll change that down so you're only paying $100 now?
My understanding is that they should.
Okay.
But it's one of those ones where I would also make sure that you're communicating with the Office of Disaster Assistance. Like you get an email from the Office of Disaster Assistance telling you, yes, accept the loan, send us the difference. We, on the back end, when it gets to the servicing side, we'll re-amortize and change the terms of the loan, when this gets to servicing on your behalf. And I would have that, kind of that conversation in place before you did that.
All right, awesome. We've answered 82. There's 21 minutes left. We have 4 left. 4 questions left. Two-part question. PPP loan, is it correct that the due date for application for forgiveness is now after the due date for the first loan payment? Is it correct that the due date for the application for forgiveness is now after the due date for the first loan payment?
Well, no.
Yeah, technically, yes. Technically, yes. That's a good question. Thanks for confusing us. So yes, technically, yes. But it's because the lenders aren't ready for you to give them the forgivability stuff, and it's 10 months after that. So yeah, technically.
I guess it kind of depends.
Depends when you file your paperwork.
Yeah. If you were one of the very first applicants to apply to the Paycheck Protection Program and you're coming up at the end of an 8-week period, that could be the case.
All right, I'm just going to tell this person to email the SFO thing.
And then on number 2, I don't know the answer to that.
I don't either, so I'll just have them, yeah.
Okay.
Can I use my idle funds to pay business credit card purchases from the last couple of months? The answer is no. You can't pay them off, but you can pay the monthly interest, right?
Yeah, you can pay them. Well, so you can pay the monthly interest, and if you took out debt after February 15th for the purpose of meeting any disaster needs, anything that you're if you took out, opened a credit card, for instance, to keep making expenses on your business, you could refinance, essentially debt that was taken out after February 15th using a idle loan. If it was before February 15th, you're limited to just making interest payments.
Okay, sounds good. All right. So the question is, how long should you wait? Okay, so Shirley Moore, you're emailing us, or you don't want to wait. Okay, just give us a call, 833, and nicely demand that you want somebody to help you as soon as possible, right now. Okay, just do that. Tell them I said so. Can idle loan be used to pay independent contractors? It can, right?
Yep.
PPP can't, but it can, right?
Yep, yeah. Idle loan can definitely be used. That's a business expense.
Okay, people are getting really quick with these questions now. All right, maybe, I don't know, I can't answer this question, but how was wage reduction calculated on table 1 when the employee was hired after 5/3, the wage reduction? I don't know what that means, but I think they were talking about this one.
They're talking about the loan forgiveness application form.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Should I email you? Or?
And that's one where, like, if they were hired later on, think on table, I have to look at table 1 on that one. Let me look at it real quick. But I think you should be, there should be 2. And make sure that you're looking at the right application.
Okay.
Because there was a new application for forgiveness that was released just 2 weeks ago.
I don't think the Treasury website even has the old app anymore.
Okay. Sometimes people saved the application
Oh, yeah.
at the top, though, and I might have been looking at that. And I think if you hired a new employee, you would list that new employee maybe in table 2. I don't know, that's one where maybe, you know, as people kind of digest, you know, filling out, you know, step by step on these applications, both through the SBDC side, you know, as they get more experience working, you know, on a step by step with the applications, as well as working closely with your lender. It's, you know, making sure that they understand the situation. So not the greatest answer, but also we're kind of, you know, in the first couple of weeks of having the forgiveness form released.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm going to ask this question from Mitchell. Can payments for medical care as opposed to insurance payments be counted as expenses that make loan forgivable? We have a Section 105 medical plan for employees where we pay for employee and dependents for medical up to $2,000 or $20,000 a year. The employee's son needs an eye exam. We will pay for that exam.
The short answer is to say that all right, so the broad, or the broader answer is that the Paycheck Protection Program funds, up to 40% of them can be used towards employee benefits, which, you know, insurance payments are explicitly included. Right, look here. But the real answer is to talk with your lender and explain the situation to your lender, because your lender is going to be the one that reviews the application and asks for supporting documentation on those expenses, and ultimately approves or denies portions of that application for loan forgiveness. So that's, you know, the Paycheck Protection Program is truly, it's a lender-driven program. On the PPP loan forgiveness form, when it looks at non-cash, or when it looks at non-cash compensation payroll costs, it explicitly just lists employee health insurance. And, you know, that, so your particular question, it might fall into a gray area. And wherever there are gray areas on the Paycheck Protection Program, the lenders have the delegated authority to interpret program guidelines.
All right. Sounds good. Can payments for medical care as opposed to, okay. So this is what you're talking. So you answer that, okay.
Mm-hmm.
During what period of time are the numbers? So this, real quick, we are, all right, so we are experiencing a really high call volume at this time. This is not a recorded message. But we actually are receiving a lot of calls right now as we speak on this call. But guess what? We're going to be off at noon so that we'll be able to answer it. You are leaving voicemails. We have people that can help you. What we're going to do for you is, we know that loans at asksbdc.com is not working fast enough for you. So we get that. We're going to put an automatic reply on that says, just call this number, because we're really busy with that. We hired a call center team. We have 50 people that are working for us doing advisory stuff for loans. So you know what else we're going to do? We're going to add more of those people on the call center. I mean, on the call log. So you can get answers immediately. because that's what we're going to do right now, today after this call. So thank you for your patience. Had to address that because I'm getting blown up. So, all right. Is there a workshop or will there be one on managing documentation for the EIDL loans? Yes, Misha, if you want that, just call us and say, hey, I got a great idea for a workshop. Tell Scott said so. There you go. Okay.
And I think that, yeah, the weekly updates here, you know, I think touch on updates to those programs, but where the issue with, you know, EIDL and PPP is oftentimes filling out the applications comes down to it is different for every single business. And so a lot of times that work is done on counseling and consulting side on a one-on-one basis with a lot of the consultants that are being managed by Scott and Sunita. I don't know if you know, it might be, you know, worthwhile to look into a workshop, but a lot of it, you know, ends up turning on the exact specific details of what the structure of your business is.
Right. It's like I've always said for weeks now, I probably haven't said it in a couple of weeks, is to keep all your documentation, because documentation is going to be different for each business. So the best thing for you to do is to keep all of your pay stubs, keep all your 641 information, all the information on how you use that money is what you should keep, because everyone's going to be different. So I would be different than my, you know, the business next door to me because of how they're structured. So unfortunately, you know, if we gave you lists 1 through 10, it probably wouldn't work for everybody because that's just for one entity type or one business type. As you see here, the questions, they are similar, but they are different because it really pertains to their particular situation. So with that documentation, it's going to be the same way. We could give you a list of best practices, but you may end up having to include more or less, depending if you're a sole prop or not, or any other business type. But yeah, we'll definitely can get like a, you know, a best practices list, but you know, FYI, you may need more or less. Down to 4 questions.
Wow. All right.
They're coming in fast now.
10 minutes.
I challenge them. They're all, okay, well, we're going to show you.
Don't challenge people. I got a hard stop at noon, Scott. So if you can get me out 5 minutes early, I'll be happy here.
I want questions for Alan.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
All right, cool. We paid ourselves as guaranteed payment every month. Would it be counted as employees? We filed our income on K1, not W-2. It's probably like a partnership. So they paid themselves a payment every month. Would it be counted as an employee? We filed our income on K1, not on W-2. Is that an employee or no? It's a partner, right?
It'd probably be a partnership. That's a, you know, under a self-employed or partnership kind of structure. In which case it runs, you know, under the rules around owner compensation is what it sounds like.
Okay. All right, I'll tell them to. All right.
And so when you go to apply for loan forgiveness, if that's your structure, like owners don't do FTE reductions. It doesn't make sense. So on the loan forgiveness application, you don't have to do any kind of FTE calculations if you're looking at owners or partners.
All right, yeah, no worries. Thank you. So Misha, I don't know, Sunita answered your question, or she answered her.
Yeah, she just wanted best practices.
Misha, I don't know if you're a advisor or a business owner, but we need to know that before we give you a guide, because you know, we do these webinars every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Last week we were doing like how to reconsider your application if you're denied around denials. We also went over, like whether it was last week or the week before, thanks to Noe, we went over a lot of other stuff like what you can spend the EIDL on and what you can't spend the EIDL on. And I know we have all this stuff like in an archive on our YouTube channel, and we probably need to find out what we covered on those YouTube channels for those days, and then change the name of the YouTube. All right, I don't even know what I'm saying. We've done 33 of these, but instead of calling them all the same thing, we should probably listen to them as a team, not you as business owners, and figure out how to retitle them so you know where to find this information. Okay, so we're going to do that. We're not going to do it today, but we're going to try to figure that out. All right, Scott McDaniel, can I use the EIDL to pay off my 7A now? No, you can't. You can't do that. I don't know. We say that all the time. How about now? What do you mean now and now and now and now? The answer is no. Okay, you can't do it. You're confusing me with now. Like today or like tomorrow? Like when? All right, my business got an EIDL offer, and when I started the paperwork, for some reason, my ID could not be verified through the portal. Now someone is asking for my photocopy of my driver's license, not through a secure portal, and telling me if I don't send it, and my application will be denied. Is that true? I don't know. Maybe no one knows.
My ID cannot be verified through the portal. If you like, you can send me, you can forward a copy of the email that you received, the individual who is asking for the photocopy of your driver's license, and I can confirm whether they're an SBA employee or not. So if that's something that you have a question about, you can reach out to the district office and we can look them up.
All right.
But it is, sometimes folks at the Office of Disaster Assistance need to verify business ownership or identification. So that request isn't, it's in line with other requests that I've seen from that office.
Okay, cool.
Okay, let's see here. This is Janny. This is going to be, I think, a tough one too. During what period of time are the number of FTEs counted? The week the loan application forgiveness is turned in, the 8-week period prior, the 24-week prior, or question mark. I have a tourist-based business, so we are still ramping up with work to bring back to the same number of FTEs prior to shutdown. I was funded on May 4th.
Yeah.
She would be considered safe harbor, wouldn't she, Noah?
Likely, but it's really a matter of, I would say there's a number of questions about time periods on the loan forgiveness application process right now. And I would, there's kind of two answers. One is your lender probably isn't accepting applications yet because your lender also wants to know the answers to those exact same questions before they open up the process. And the other one is that the time period during which FTEs are counted, though, it's looking at an average over either the 8-week period or the 24-week covered period. That's kind of that time period, and that covered period generally starts the day that the funds are dispersed into your bank account. In your case, it might be a little bit different because you could be a seasonal business, so that 24-week period could look a little different. But at the end of the day, with the Paycheck Protection Program and loan forgiveness, just never forget that it's going to go through your lender, and your lender is going to mediate that process and approve it or deny it, and it'll be your lender that makes the ultimate determinations, and also asks, tells you, okay, well, if you want to do it this way, we're going to need XYZ paperwork, or we're going to need certain documentation. So that will go through your lender.
Thank you, Noah.
Yeah.
We have no open questions. That means we're done.
Booyah!
Thank you, everyone.
We did finish 104 questions, and we are going to answer your calls. So don't email us anymore. If you do, it's going to bounce back and say, call us, please, right now. Either today or tomorrow, maybe next week. Hey, Scott, stop joking with me. Come on, man. You can't use your idle to pay off your 7A. The answer is no. No, 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 no.
How
If you don't
about
believe
no?
me, you don't believe me? Email Noah. He'll tell you. Actually, you should just call idle and say, hey, this guy said no. Is that true? Okay, Scott.
Thank you, everybody, for
Thank you, everyone.
joining us again today, and we'll see you on Wednesday for more
Thank you very
information.
much.